Welcome back to Cherryblossom Springs. Today we are going to take a closer look at a few more businesses in town, and we are going to start out with this farm, Cherryblossom Farm. The farm is supposed to provide food for the restaurants and grocery stores in town, and right now we are at the start of planting all of the crops that Roland needs. In the future the farm might expand to the nearby open lands, but for now we just have a few rows of crops planted behind his house. And as you can see, he's been working really hard since the first day that he moved in, and he's had some help. We're going to take a look at that a little bit later. But first, a little bit about Roland. He grew up on a farm in a little town a long way from here, and even though his parents aren't alive anymore, his dream is to make them proud and follow in their footsteps. He is still a long way from that though, and he is only 19 years old, really inexperienced, but he is determined to make this farm a success. The focus on his job is why he doesn't have any romantic wants right now, even though he had a flirt with Rosa last night at the meet and greet. Both him and Stanley, the local repairman slash exterminator and also a business owner, tried to talk to Rosa. But she's really shy, and she got a bit annoyed by the two of them fighting over her attention. So she walked away to get a drink by herself. But later that night Roland walked up to her at the buffet, and after a bit of flirting they actually ended up kissing together, leaving Stanley very jealous and disappointed. So we will have to see what is going to happen on his side. Is he going to pursue Rosa, or maybe shift his attention to Robin, the woman in the light blue blouse having dinner with him in this clip? One way or another, Roland decides that he is going to call Rosa tonight. As he dials her number, even up until the last moment of picking up, he is not even sure what he expects from this call, but then he hears her voice and feels the exact same thing as when he kissed her. And in that moment he knows, this is someone I could fall in love with. Everything about her just feels so familiar and right, and he simply feels at home with her. So they start talking about how nice it would be to go on a romantic date or take a trip together. And then reality hits him, and he says that if he would win the lottery, that would be the first thing he would do. But right now he needs to make sure that he starts earning an income with his farm, and that he does dream of a big family in the future, but he needs to know first that he could actually provide for a family, and in order for that to happen he needs money. He has no time to take a rest. He does want to fall in love, so let's lock that in for him. He really needs to make some money first. As he is explaining, when the business is growing and he has enough security so he can provide for a family, that's when he will start thinking about that. But the kiss was really great. So yeah, let's just hang up. He needs to clean up a little bit, go to bed. Because he's really tired, and contemplate on what he wants his future to look like and how he can win Rosa's heart. But before we continue with the story, let's take a look at how Roland's day started. When he got up this morning, he remembered that at the meet and greet he heard a talk that there was a local gardener. And since that gardener doesn't have that much to do yet, because there aren't that many houses with big gardens, he decides that he is going to give him a call and ask him if he would be open to helping him out on the farm. After the first day of starting out with the planting of the crops, he still has so much work to do, and he realizes that he will never be able to do this on his own. Besides, Rick is an actual gardener, so he might know a lot more about plants than Roland does, so that could really work out. He could learn enough from Rick while working together to have some extra tips and tricks up his sleeve for the next season, when he needs to do all of this work on his own. And of course he's going to pay Rick for his efforts and his time spent here, so he's really helping him out too. He's helping him out of a situation where he might have a very low income at his start in this town, so it's a win-win really. So after Roland introduces himself, they have a short chat. Roland has really low social, so he wants to chat a little bit, and they want to get to know each other a little bit. And they actually start talking about how Roland kissed Rosa the other night, and Rick actually had a little bit of a romance himself too. So yeah, they do have a few things in common, and they seem to get along great. But after this short chat, they go outside and they get to work. So yeah, with the help of Rick, he seems to have gotten half of the work already done before lunch. So that's a good sign. Also, the time clock really helps. So since this is a business, I am going to use the time clock on this lot, which means that time will pass slower, but also the needs stay the same. So it's going to be challenging on one hand, but easier on the other. Also, in the distance, you can see one of my future projects, and leave a comment with if you want to guess what that is. It's not for now, it's a future project, but yeah, let me know if you can see what I tried to build there. So let's get back to work, and he and Rick will have lunch together around the clock of probably 1 or 2. So yeah, I guess it's time to make some lunch. Maybe... No, I thought maybe Rick would have gone to the bakery to get some croissants, but no, he didn't. He did, however, go by Stanley's shop and got a burglary alarm. We should hang that up because he doesn't have one yet. So that's cool. He also has just one chair. Let's buy him another chair. There we go. So they sit down together to have lunch, and they start talking some more. Even though they are really different personalities with different interests, they do really get along. Now, Rick is really tired and will probably not be able to work too much today. And after a quick nap on the couch, Roland will continue his work for the day too. Which brings us to where this episode started, the phone call with Rosa and the end of Roland's first day at the job. At the end of the episode we will see how that is going to continue, but first I want to jump to one of the other starting businesses in town. So here we have Stanley Everson. I introduced him shortly when we moved the first 8 male Sims into their homes in one of the previous episodes. Stanley is the local repairman and also exterminator. So whenever the other households need one of those services, they will call in Stanley and pay him for his work. And he gets a low base income from that custom job too. He will probably open up a bigger appliances shop soon in the town square, but for now he is running a small business from his home, and he is going to open in a few minutes, so let's get him prepared for that. I think if he can sell every item in his store every day, that he could make a profit of maybe 500 simoleons a day. So that would be a really good start to expand his business and maybe open shop in the town square once that finally gets done building. So let's do a sale on Lizzie. So Stanley is the kind of person that is just born with a good business sense. He can spot opportunities from a mile away, and even though he has no education and hardly any skills, he is already building up quite a reputation in this town. He's also opened up a small kiosk to sell mobile phones, because he saw that there was nothing like that in the area, so he could make some money that way. His biggest wish right now is falling in love, because he really is a family sim. And he did have 2 bolts with Rosa when he met her at the meet and greet, but from the previous clip we know how that went, and he was really devastated when he looked up from his dinner and saw her kissing Roland. So we will have to see how that is going to go. I guess he is hoping that she will come into the store today and that will give him a chance to talk to her. Or maybe he will build up the courage to call her after he gets back from doing his repairs around town. For now he does have his hands full on all of his businesses and his plans to open up a bigger shop. And he has some ideas about starting something like a Better Bath franchise, where he will sell bathroom stuff like toilets, showers and sinks and all that kind of stuff. Of course we will have to work out a schedule and hire some staff to be able to run all those stores, but we'll deal with that when we get there. And it also would be really nice to start having those stores in town, so we can finally start decorating these houses. First, let's finish up on his first day of working his business at home and then send him off to his custom job as a repairman, because I think his carpool is already waiting, and we will continue when he comes back home around 6. Okay, so a funny thing happened. I was actually going to have him call Rosa and see if she wanted to come over, but Stanley got up and decided to make a booty call to Robin by himself. So thank you, ACR, and I guess that's the story that we're going with. I guess Stanley is just not the kind of person that is going to wait for someone that might never be his. He's not a competitive person. I guess he doesn't only see opportunities, but he also knows immediately when something doesn't have a chance to succeed. And he had a nice talk with Robin during dinner at the meet and greet. They also have 1 bolt together, so he does feel attracted to her. We have seen these two together at the Fortuna party, where they tried to have a woohoo upstairs, but there were some stairs that got in the way, and Stanley never got there, so Robin was waiting upstairs and Stanley was standing downstairs. But it looks like they finally get their way. One way or another, they do seem attracted to each other, and maybe Robin can even get Stanley to forget about Rosa. But first, let's skip to Robin's house, and we will see what happens after woohoo at the end of this episode. Welcome to the Carver home. Here we see Robin just walking downstairs the night she came back from the meet and greet. She wants to become best friends with Stanley, but she also just wants to make a friend, so I'm gonna let her call Therese, just have a conversation, and let her make her first friend in this town. Now, Robin is the local carpenter, and the way this town was set up is that Robin built all of the wooden furniture that was used to give the new homes all of the basics, like beds and chairs and tables and stuff. Robin's shop is the 3rd shop that is run from a residential lot, but what is different from the other 2 is that Robin is quite happy with this situation. She doesn't really want to change anything about it. We now of course know that she has a crush on Stanley, but we don't know that much else about her. So right after she opens for the first day of running her business, we're going to get into her backstory. Okay, so Robin is going to get ready for her first day at the job, and we're going to meet her downstairs in her new shop that she is running out of her garage. So let's open the shop and get to work. She's got lots of furniture to make. Cherryblossom, I think these are called. Here we go. She's got lots of furniture to build. Let's see who comes in. What's Stanley? Is he here to buy something, or? Yeah, here he goes. Okay, well, she can't just ignore him. They had a woo last night, so let's just do a basic sell on him.
Mozuba na douche. Savo.
And they just became best friends. And she doesn't have any romantic ones yet. What is she doing? She's going to play with her bricks a lot. Okay. So, as I promised, a little bit about who is Robin. She came from a poor family living in the mountains in a very small and closed-off community not far from here. She was taught from a very young age that she needs to work hard and needs to learn a classic trade in order to survive and put food on the table. Her parents were already in their 40s when she was born, and she spent most of her young adult life taking care of them as they got older. At the start of this round, she is 28 years old and straight, didn't go to college, loves everything about the outdoors, and her sub-hobby is fishing. From a very young age, her father brought her to the forest higher up in the mountains, and she helped him out chopping wood, doing all kinds of chores, and he also taught her how to fish. She still cherishes those moments together and thinks of her childhood fondly, and her biggest desire in life is to raise children of her own, teach them everything her father taught her, and watch them build successful lives of their own. A few months ago, her father got sick, and since he was too stubborn to go to a hospital in a big city, and even her continuous pleading couldn't convince him otherwise, he died after just a few weeks of being sick. Robin is still heartbroken and a little bit traumatized by that. She couldn't stay at her childhood home any longer, partly because of the empty space her father left behind, but also because she realized that life is short. If she ever wanted to find a husband and start that life of her own, she wouldn't find him in a small community where she had lived her whole life and knew everybody, and there was hardly any chance of meeting new people. So she did one of the hardest things she ever had to do. She packed her bags, left her grieving mother behind, said goodbye to everything she had known and loved until then, and then moved to Cherryblossom Springs. She is determined to leave her past behind her and at the same time cherish those memories and live her life by the values her parents taught her, because that is the most valuable thing she has in life. She is attracted to the idea of a fresh start and helping to build up a town with her bare hands, something that she is actually able to do because in the last few years she has taught herself how to make decent wooden furniture. At the time of her arrival there wasn't much here, except for the mayor's house, the hot springs at the edge of town, and the small cabin where the contractor's office now stands. This town attracted that contractor because he is hoping to build a tourist paradise in the future, but for now it is just a small town starting out. And you could certainly say that Robin was one of Cherryblossom Springs' first inhabitants, and has put a lot of sweat and hard work into helping to build this town into what it is today. I think it's actually lunchtime, but let's help Daniel first. There is one item left, so once he has bought that, she can close the shop, have some lunch, and we're going to do the same thing in the afternoon. Except this time we are not going to join her, we will just be leaving her to her job. We are going to check back in at the end of the day to see how she did, and when we invite her friend Therese back again for a dinner together. Oh, thank you, Vernon. Vernon is cleaning up the leaves outside. That's really nice of him. He's the local doctor, by the way. So we're back again for Robin's evening, and she's made 297 simoleons. Not that much yet, but this will improve as the business grows. Therese just arrived for dinner, so they're going to have dinner together. And first she's gotta make something, and for now she can only make sandwiches, so let's go for that. They actually became best friends. That's nice. I think this is a really interesting friendship because they have such different personalities. Therese is the outgoing, playful pleasure sim, and Robin is much more of a hard-working, more serious, family-oriented sim. But I think they find each other in their love for children. And even more than that, in the common desire to have children of their own and start a family. Even though Therese is a pleasure sim, she took the responsibility to take care of the children in the orphanage. And deep down she really wants to have a family of her own too. I think Therese is talking about how hard it is to meet new people when you You have the toddlers to take care of and all the toys laying around, tripping over all the toys. And I think Robin responds with that she can't wait to have all of the toys laying around and tripping over them herself, because that would mean her dreams are coming true. Having a few little ones around, taking care of them, seeing them grow up, that is all she really wants. And I have to say that I agree with her, because Cherryblossom Springs could really use some babies. It's getting a bit late, so let's say goodbye to Therese and go to bed. Within this round, she still has a few days to grow her business, and by the end of it, I think she should be able to make around 1,000 simoleons a day. But first, let's jump back to Stanley's house, because we still haven't seen how that booty call ended. So here we see them hugging each other after the woohoo, and Robin develops a crush on Stanley. And a little bit later, Stanley also develops a crush on Robin. Aren't they cute together? I think they're a really cute couple. So Stanley decides that even though it's in the middle of the night, he is going to cook Robin some dinner. Very late dinner, but still a nice gesture, and he does want to get to know her a little bit better. Now Stanley doesn't really have any cooking skills, so he just made her some sandwiches. And well, I guess it's the thought that counts, and this will fill their stomachs after woohoo. So what initially started out as a booty call has turned into having a late night dinner together and talking about their lives and their interests, their hopes and dreams for the future, deep into the night. And by the time they say goodbye, they are really close to falling in love with each other, and Stanley can't wait to see Robin again. So those first babies of Cherryblossom Springs might actually be on their way soon. But before we end the episode, let's get back to Roland, because that's where this episode started. Now Roland is of course going to have his hands full, because he has a lot of work to do. He has to spend a lot of time in his garden taking care of his plants to get to his first harvest. And of course he needs his first harvest for the first fall festival and his first profit, because he's not making any money right now. And that is why he cannot go on a date with Rosa. So we had to think about a little solution for that, and I think I found it. He is going to call Rosa tonight. He talked to her on the phone yesterday, and he is going to talk to her again tonight. But he can't step away from his plants, from his garden. So what he's going to do, he's going to call her and tell her that when they see each other at the fall festival, he will buy her a coffee or a cupcake or whatever fall related items there will be, and they are going to have a little bit of a romantic date during the fall festival. I think that's a perfect solution for now. So later that evening he calls her and they talk a little bit and they arrange the date for next Saturday. And as they continue talking, the night falls and it is time to end this episode. Roland worked really hard with the help of Rick to plant all of the seeds, and he succeeded, so he is now ready for his first profit. But during their work outside, something else happened. Something that I didn't expect, but maybe should have. And something that we're going to get into, or rather fix, in one of the next episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!